What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, and today we are going to be discussing a weekly roundup of 49ers news. A lot happened this week, Matt, and we're kind of all shoving in one episode just because we were on our little break.
Yep.
The biggest news has got to be this Deshaun Watson trade rumors, smoke, whatever you want to call it. I mean, do you want to break it down and tell me if there's any realistic chance that the 49ers have him under center next season?
I mean, well, let's go through the situation. Deshaun Watson was surprised last year by the DeAndre Hopkins trade. I know he had a conversation with Cal McNair, the owner of the Texans, about that. And, Cal McNair assured Deshaun Watson that, those type of big moves and stuff he would be consulted on. And there was rumors that I think there was one. Hold on. We're gonna pause.
No problem.
I don't want to kill the guy's name.
Is it Jack Easterby?
Okay. Nope. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Cal McNair said that he would consult with him on those big decisions moving forward, and there was a rumored job offer out for Omar Khan to take over as their GM. And then last minute, Cal McNair had hired this big firm, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with all of these, names on the list going through one after another. Omar Khan was rumored to have a job offer on the table. And then at the 11th hour, Cal McNair says, nope, I'm going to hire Nick Caserio from the New England Patriots. Deshaun Watson was not consulted. He posted a tweet that said some things never changed, which has since been deleted. There are really real rumors out there that he is mad beyond belief, feels betrayed by the organization. And I can't blame him. If the owner says he's going to do something and then doesn't do it, why wouldn't you be upset? And in terms of, is it realistic that the 49ers could be a destination? I really think that the chances Deshaun Watson get traded are about 1%. He would have to take a real firm stand a la Carson Palmer with the Bengals back in 2011 to really have a realistic shot at being traded. His contract this year is tradable. The dead cap hit is not as much as you would expect, but there's no incentive for the Texans to trade him. They're going to try to wait out the player like organizations always do. There are rumors that they're going to be interviewing Eric Bieniemy for their position. That is kind of viewed by a lot of people as kind of a supplicating move for Deshaun Watson, kind of an ego-smoothing move. And let's not forget, the 49ers have so many free agents, so little cap space, and so much roster turnover incoming that, they can't really afford to part with as much as it would take to get Deshaun Watson. So if he was going to get traded anywhere, Miami makes the most sense because they just, they can trade Houston's own draft picks back to him. So it's a weird situation. It's kind of unprecedented that you see a 25-year-old superstar quarterback in the midst of their prime demand a trade. And for the organization in Houston to do this to Deshaun Watson is kind of laughable. I would trade the whole farm. Just blow the whole thing up, start it over with Deshaun Watson, and just put pieces together. But, the likelihood of that happening is just not very high. Let's be honest.
Unfortunately, yes, I think you're right with that. But at the same time, Nick Caserio is coming into the situation. He's got to weigh it. Is it worth trying to fix this relationship? Or do you say this may be beyond repair? We recently, I think, yesterday, or no, it was today, Andre Johnson tweeted, if I'm, Houston Texans legend, mind you, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I will stand my ground. The Texans organization is known for wasting players' careers. It's a big quote there. Since Jack Easterby, I don't know how, has walked into the building, nothing good has happened for the organization. And for some reason, someone can't seem to see what's going on. Pathetic. Those are pretty big words. Andre Johnson's word carries some weight.
And he would know.
Yeah.
The Texans did nothing with him there. Mario Williams is another name where they did nothing with him there. J.J. Watt. I mean, and, J.J. Watt on camera saying, like, walking up to Deshaun Watson and being like, hey, sorry we wasted one of your years, man. Like, there's no classier guy in football than J.J. Watt. That dude is, like, a pro's pro, going out before the last game of the season saying, like, if you don't go out and earn your paycheck, you shouldn't be here, and doing it for the fans, despite a disappointing season. Yeah. And I agree. If you're Deshaun Watson, stand your ground. I mean, he's banked about $40 million. He doesn't necessarily need money, and that's really where all of this comes in. Deshaun Watson has leverage. If he just says, hey, I'm not playing, I would rather retire than play for the Houston Texans organization. The organization will get to about mid-October and decide that they need to trade him. So, he has leverage. He just has to believe in himself and stand by his convictions to be able to get that done. Now, again, talking about the 49ers, it's just much more likely that again, people are talking about Nick Caserio drafted Jimmy Garoppolo. Is he going to want him back? Well, I mean, maybe, but then we have to give him definitely this year's first, maybe next year's first, and the first after that, or something like that. Ben Albright was saying even 3 1s isn't enough for Deshaun Watson. The team that can give that to them is the Miami Dolphins, who have 6 picks inside the top 100, just drafted a quarterback in Tua. If you want to send somebody back, the teams have a trade history, obviously, with the Laramie Tunsil trade, so there's something there. Maybe they can work something out. Miami definitely has the most draft capital to get it done. But as a personal fan of Deshaun Watson, I just want to see him out of Houston. They are wasting his career.
They really are. It's really unfortunate. You don't see this situation happen that often in the NFL. Usually, and you saw the owner, McNair, he was giving that press conference, I think, after they hired Nick Caserio, and you could see it one of two ways. You could see it as disrespectful, or you could see it as just an owner. When he referred to Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt as 4 and 99, some people were saying, Nick Caserio's Nick, and, Jack Easterby's Jack, but the players are the numbers. You can read it however you want, but I think the moral of the story is he's very unhappy there. And on top of all of that, Cal McNair even said himself, I'm awaiting his response. I called him. He's not returning my phone calls. Josina Anderson had reported he was on a trip. As we're recording this, I saw that he was at a Houston Rockets game. So he's in town. He's around. He doesn't want to talk to them. So we'll see how that plays out. I think that he would, because he does have a no trade clause, if I remember correctly, in his contract.
Which gives him leverage, by the way.
Yes. Yeah.
And like you said, we haven't seen this before. Carson Palmer, when he did it, was I think he was 30, 31.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's 25. He does have a no trade clause, which gives him more leverage to, if Cal McNair tries to trade him somewhere he doesn't want to go, he'll be like, I'm not waiving that no trade clause.
Yep.
So he really does. I mean, if he chooses to stand his ground, pardon the phrase, but he does have the Houston Texans by the tendies. You know what I mean? Like
by the Texies.
Yeah. And, obviously he should stand his ground. And like you said, the disrespect goes beyond just the 4 and 99 thing.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that the McNairs are very uptight, aristocratic, good old boy owners, if you know what I mean. And this is just more of the same, where the owners think that they're on just this stratospheric level and the players are, beneath them. But really, even though you own the team and the players do play for your team and you pay for the players really put that money in your pocket by getting fans into the stands, by getting eyeballs on the TV. It's a symbiotic relationship, and sometimes I think that certain owners forget that, and this is one of those situations where if the situation's not working for Deshaun, then Deshaun needs to do what's best for him.
Yep. Last question for you before we move on.
Yep.
How do I phrase this? Is it hard for John Lynch to go to Kyle Shanahan and or Jed York and explain, we need to give up the farm for a guy that we could have drafted when we first got here? Is that a weird position to be in as a GM?
I think so. I mean, those conversations are, it's one of those things where you never want to have that conversation, right? You want to have your guy. And we've talked about this before, the truncated timetable they were on because Kyle got hired so late in the game, right around combine level. I think they only had a couple combine visits from quarterbacks, and most of them were not very good. I know they had a private workout with Deshaun Watson. I know they worked out Mitch Trubisky. Other than that, there wasn't a lot of noise in the 49ers looking at quarterbacks that season, despite having, Brian Hoyer on the roster. So, yeah, it's a difficult thing when you could have had somebody, but at the same time, the draft's a crapshoot. SI's own Grant Cohn said that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to be very good. So,
yikes.
Freezing cold takes, anybody? So you never really know. The problem is with so many free agents and so many holes in the roster and so little cap space, especially in a down cap year, can you really afford to give up? And I'm not the guy that's like, hold on to draft capital. Most people treat draft picks like they're gold, as we've said before. But at some point, it's got to be like, okay, we got to try to incorporate, if we're going to do a Deshaun Watson deal and the Texans want to, we got to incorporate some players, because you can't just give away all this draft capital, because then you're in the situation that the Texans are in now, where they don't have any first-round picks and they don't have any second-round picks for the next 2 years. You can't build a team that way. So, it's one thing if you trade up like Kansas City did to get a Patrick Mahomes, right? Because there is some level of guesswork. And frankly, the price is lower. Deshaun Watson is an all-pro quarterback. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, top 10 in the league. Those don't grow on trees. So because of the fact that he's an established pro with so much talent that you can see, I think his price is just going to be too astronomically high. And the only team that could really, again, realistically pay that is the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. It would be hilarious to see the Texans give up their superstar quarterback just to get their own pick back. But,
yeah.
I mean, they could make it happen. It seems like teams, they're expecting rookie quarterbacks to produce right away, and they're giving them a much shorter leash and a shorter timetable to get it done. I mean, we're talking about the Dolphins moving off of Tua after 1 year and not even a full 16 games playing or starting. So, but that's it for the Deshaun Watson topic. We're going to move into the 49ers coaching changes. Robert Saleh, Matt, I'm sure you've seen, has been interviewed by multiple teams. As we're recording this, it was reported earlier today that the Eagles requested permission to interview him, and then Ian Rappaport reported that the Jets had him listed as a finalist. Do you see this being announced anytime soon? Do you think that he will take a job somewhere? Do you think he ends up coming back? What are the chances of any of this happening?
Yeah, I keep hearing that the Jets is a done deal. I don't know that I necessarily believe that, because I think that the Jets is one of the worst jobs out there. Just like we heard, he didn't interview well with the Lions. I mean, people say things, it's rumor mill season, but he is, I think before it's all said and done, he's going somewhere. That's for sure. And he's probably taking a few position coaches with him, whether that's, Mike McDaniels, whether that's Coach K, whether that's, who's to say he doesn't even take D'Amico with him to be his defensive coordinator? You know what I mean? To continue to learn under him. I know that Robert Saleh is really going to be in charge of the defense, like a lot of these coordinators turned head coaches are. But you're going to need a guy that's there as like the head guy. And if you're trying to groom D'Amico Ryans for that position, then you just promise him like, hey, you're going to be the defensive coordinator, whatever. So it could be any one of those things. Saleh frankly deserves it. I mean, he did a lot this year with a very difficult situation, and the 49ers defense in terms of yardage was ranked inside the top 10 against the pass and the run. So scoring defense was outside of the top 10, but a lot of that was offensive ineptitude and giving up, field position because we turned the ball over so much. He made the best of a bad situation. Players love him. It's going to be really hard to see him go, but On the plus side, Shanahan gets to branch out his coaching tree a little bit. And, we're going to get some draft picks for that. So can't be too mad about that. And then on top of that, now we're hearing that Adam Peters and Martin Mayhew are shortlisted on, some people's, job openings. So this could be a completely different staff. And I'm sure that's, if I know anything about Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure he's kind of stressed out about that too. So who knows where it's going to go. And, it's going to be really interesting because if Mayhew and Peters go, now we're going to see, was it John Lynch that drafted George Kittle and Fred Warner and guys like that? Or was it those guys? So that's been a question. And I'm sure that John Lynch was really mainly the guy because I feel like we might have heard something. But since the Balky days, this organization has been a little bit more buttoned up, so that remains to be seen. It'll be interesting if John Lynch is actually the mastermind behind the roster or if it was those guys. So who knows?
Yep. Yeah, so this is – I definitely think John Lynch – Robert Saleh, there will be a job, I think, as long as he doesn't hold anything up. I think it'll be announced by the end of this week. I have a feeling he's going to take a job somewhere. It could be the Jets. I'm not sure. We've seen
should take the Chargers job if it was offered.
I agree. I think that's the best one available. There are reports that have come out as we're recording this that it's all but a done deal with New York. I think that I don't want to say it'll be a mistake, but it's going to be a tough place. It's a tough environment. It's a tough city to play in. And you're going into, you got the second pick. You could do what you want there. But, I think, I forget which one of the big reporters, Schefter or Rappaport, tweeted out today basically that, a coach like an offensive coach assistant like LaFleur or McDaniels could do a lot with Sam Darnold in New York if Saleh ends up going there. So that's going to be a huge if. Is who does he take with him once he gets the job? And like you said, Adam Peters, Martin Mayhew, these are guys that are getting looks elsewhere as well. It's looking like Adam Peters might get that Carolina job.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing
That's
here.
What I heard from Ben Albright, was saying that he was on that. He was speculating he was on that short list.
That's right. Yeah. So, and I think we were talking about this today in the group chat, if I read it correctly, if Martin Mayhew leaves, the 49ers will end up with 2 third-round picks from Saleh and Mayhew, both getting promoted elsewhere. So that would be huge.
Yeah, and here's the thing to watch out for the Adam Peters thing too, because it's not just another guy leaving. The 49ers have obviously done legwork on Zach Wilson, and the Carolina Panthers pick in front of the 49ers this year. And there's some question marks about Teddy Bridgewater and how he finished the season. So that could definitely affect what the 49ers do in the draft going forward if these guys leave. It's going to be a lot of turnover. It's going to be really difficult for the 49ers to see all those guys walk out and keep it cohesive. But they got to try to do their best. But who knows what that's going to look like going forward.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I never even actually thought about that. And speaking of Zach Wilson, there was a video that went out that kind of made the rounds. Everybody was getting all riled up because he said he was asked which offensive system does he think that he'd excel at the most in the NFL, and he basically said Kyle Shanahan is the one I'm most familiar with. It made the rounds. It basically went viral, but a lot of people, didn't see that he was talking about. I think the Panthers. I could be wrong. I'll put the video here, but he was talking about an additional team for a lot longer than he was talking about the 49ers.
Yeah.
But we all want Zach Wilson for the most part. A lot of people do. So I know that made, everybody happy to see him discuss 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. So,
yeah, Zach Wilson is a guy we have our eye on. Again, like if Saleh takes the Jets job, what happens to Sam Darnold? There's a lot of, again, with 49ers looking at quarterbacks, this game of musical chairs where so many pieces could be heading out of the front office and this coaching staff, it throws a lot of things into flux because they've been with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch on this stuff all season. And it's not to say that they would purposefully go and spite Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch on stuff. But if you've been working on things and you feel confident in your selection and you have the opportunity to get your guy, loyalty is cool and all, but, you got to pay the bills and you got to do your job the best of your ability. So if Zach Wilson's there for Carolina, I mean, I think they take him, regardless of whether, you know, the 49ers would have wanted him or not.
Yep. I mean, that's a really good point. You know, it's not about being loyal at that point. You have your own franchise to run, basically. So I guess we'll see where that goes. But I think that's going to do it. Did you have any other points you wanted to get in here?
No, just come and join us Friday night. We're going to be live. We're going to be going over a lot of stuff that's happened over the last couple of weeks and kind of previewing where the channel is going forward with draft stuff and free agency. So go ahead and join us for that. And we're going to be recording Niners News. We're back from our break, so we're going to figure something to talk about out every day of the week. So join us here.
Yep, that's right, guys. So catch us live Friday night. But that's going to do it for this. This is kind of a special episode for us. Kind of weekly roundup, just catching up on all the news that we missed. But if you like what you see, do us a solid, help the channel out, hit that subscribe button below. Once we reach 2,000 subscribers, we're giving away another 49ers jersey. We've given away like 8 in 8 months that we've had this channel, so it could be you next. Like this video, share this video, get it out there. You know, share it to a friend, whatever you do. Just help us by getting the word out about our channel. And drop a comment below. What do you think about the Deshaun Watson situation? Do the 49ers have any chance of getting him? Where do you think Saleh ends up? Do you think he poaches any coaches? I guess that's a funny thing to say.
Poaches coaches.
Poaches coaches. Drop your comments below, guys.
And go ahead and follow us on Twitter, by the way. We're speaking of 8 jerseys in 8 months. If we so happen to get Deshaun Watson or one of the kids in the draft, we are going to send one of you who follows the channel and retweets and likes and follows us. There's a specific tweet out there. Go follow that one. Go retweet it, like it. We're going to send you that player's jersey, okay? And then click the bell for all your notifications so you never miss another video. Thank you, as always, for joining us, guys. Until next time, go Niners.